Hello and welcome to the High Note Podcast. I am your host, Sean Smith. This is an amazing podcast. I've been looking forward to interviewing Keller Williams since I heard that he was coming to Philadelphia with my old friend, Steve Poltz, an old friend to the podcast. Steve Poltz, it definitely goes down as one of the podcasts that people talk to me about the most is the Steve Poltz interview because of the stories and the things that he said. In fact, on this podcast, Steve said these are great questions, and Keller said, I think the answers are better. And it's 1,000% correct for everything here, because Steve and Keller do a great job of answering my silly questions. And honestly, they really just taught me to shut the folk up and listen, which is the name of their co-headlining tour that they're doing. Coming up on March 3rd, they're playing at the Birchmere in Alexandria, Virginia. Then on March 4th, they're playing City Winery in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And then on March 5th, they're playing at City Winery in New York City. So 2 city wineries. They're right up the Amtrak if you want to take the Amtrak straight up from DC into Philly and then to New York City. Really great conversation. I absolutely love these guys. They're both individually amazing, and together they're even better. I knew that this was going to be, from my years of podcasting, that whenever I interview more than one person, it's always it always just adds a wild card element to things. However, these guys are both wild cards in and of themselves, and I really just could have just turned on record and just not talked and let them talk. And I think that probably would have ended up making for a better podcast. But here we are with me interrupting Steve Poltz and Keller Williams. Before I dive in, I have to tell you guys about Steve's BaHOOTenzie festival that's coming up on Cinco de Mayo at Red Rocks, which is really awesome. Keller is going to be there, of course. And you can see Steve Poltz on his tour. You can check out Steve Poltz at Poltz.com. He'll be across America, and he's also going to be in Australia, as he mentions on the podcast. And then as well, Keller Williams, he is over there at kellerwilliams.net, and he is also doing a solo tour and is going to be across the country. And as he says, he kind of has been doing the weekend thing. In fact, Keller's going to be playing on St. Patrick's Day at Asbury Park, at Asbury Lanes, which is amazing. And then up in my old stomping grounds in Western New York in Rochester the next day. So hopefully those shows will be sold out from all of the High Note listeners. So again, kellerwilliams.net, Poltz.com for Steve Poltz's website, and then JoshuaTreeMusicFestival.com is where you can check out the BaHOOTenzie Festival, and there's a little song school too that he's doing. So check all that out. And I am Sean Smith from the High Note. You can follow me at highnotblog.com, at High Note Blog, anywhere you do your social media, and subscribe to the newsletter that's right over there at highnotblog.com. So without any further ado, my incredible interview with Steve Poltz and Keller Williams. Keller Williams, welcome to the High Note Podcast, and Steve Poltz, welcome back to the High Note Podcast. How you doing, guys?
Great. Woo! Oh, man, I'm stoked. I'm in the parking lot of a 7-Eleven in El Cajon, California.
Now, Steve, it's been a while since I've talked to you. Last time I talked to you, we were at the Philadelphia Folk Festival. Since then, I saw that you were on stage with Jewel, I think, for the 25th anniversary for Pieces of You, an album that you performed on with her and wrote on with her. How have you been, man? What have you been up to?
Oh, was that at the Opera House in Telluride?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been good. I've been keeping busy, and I just announced this festival I'm throwing in Joshua Tree called BaHOOTenzie, and Keller Williams is going to play it, and it's going to be so cool to have him there because Joshua Tree is so beautiful, and I teach a song school prior to it and make people write songs, and then we have the folk fest, and it's so gorgeous there at that time of the year. It'll be Cinco de Mayo weekend, and people will be camping out under the stars, and it's a perfect place to have a little music and fun. So I'm looking forward to that.
When is that festival?
May 5th weekend, Cinco de Mayo.
Amazing, man. That's great. Congratulations.
And so we just announced it today, and the poster's so rad. It looks like an old blacklight poster.
Oh, that's awesome. That really fits your vibe.
Yeah, man. So I'm stoked that we got Keller involved in it, and Tim Bloom from Mother Hips and Rainbow Girls. It's going to be super, super fun. And I'm just feeling honored that we get to do that. So I'm playing the Belly Up in Solana Beach here in California, San Diego tomorrow. And then I'm going to meet my buddy Keller Williams, and we're going to play at the Birchmere in Alexandria, Virginia, which is like Washington, D.C., as you know.
Yep.
And we're going to play City Winery in Philadelphia and also City Winery in New York. And then from there, I'm getting on a flight and flying all the way to Melbourne, Australia. And so then I'm going to be there for 5 weeks. I'll be playing Byron Bay Blues Fest and a bunch of stuff. But these 3 shows with Keller are going to be epic because we're reuniting, and that's going to be something special.
Yeah, I saw that you guys had done this.
Feels so good. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you guys are in charge here. I'm just along for the ride. Trust me. I saw that you guys had done this in December, and Keller, I saw that you had done this Shut the Folk Up and Listen 2 years. You did it in 2016 and 2018, and now you're on the road with Steve Poltz. So tell me about this type of show, and how did you meet Steve? Because you guys kind of came up around the same time. I just saw that you celebrated a big anniversary, the 20th anniversary of your album Laugh. So how long have you known Steve, and then how did you guys hook up for this tour?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me on your podcast. And hello, Steve, my friend. I met Steve a couple years back in California at a very cool festival in the Redwoods. And I think it was a hot buttered rum thing. And it was at this really cool site that I was told used to be like a Boy Scout camp, but they had to get rid of it because the headmaster or whatever of the Boy Scouts, he like rerouted the river and got in big trouble and had to sell the place. I don't know if it's true, but that's where I met Steve a couple years ago. And I'd always heard his name, and I'd always was told that we need to hook up and hang out at least, if not play together. And when we met, it was a very a bond was formed immediately, and stories were flowing, and questions were asked, and tales were told, and it was super positive. Skip ahead, I guess, a couple years, and we got to do our first co-bills together. And yeah, it's a part of my series called Shut the Folk Up and Listen. The first one was with Leo Kottke, an amazing hero of mine. Another one was with Martin Sexton. And this one is quite special because Steve is a little more apt to hang out and really play a lot of music together, like not on stage. And that is really refreshing. And it's, you know, when you do shows like this and you only have like an hour or two on stage, there's 22 hours to kill. Of course, 8 of those hopefully are sleeping, but it's fun to really fill the time with creating and playing music. And that's something that Steve and I have a great love for. And we have a good time together. And yeah, reunited, and it feels so good. Reunited, and it's understood. There's one perfect thing. And Sugar, this one is it. We know we're so excited because we're reunited. Hey, hey. And that's all I have to say about that.
Oh, what happens when you
That
guys?
was the greatest. Oh my God.
Now, it's interesting that you guys are both, you're doing solo tours separately. Keller, aren't you touring solo right now, or are you starting your solo tour right after this one?
Solo playing music by myself is what I call my day job. I don't really consider it like touring. I've been doing the weekend warrior things for about, I don't know, 15 years or so. And so I don't, I get a couple weekends off. And so, yeah, I'm constantly flying out on Thursdays and home on Sundays and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been doing that and having fun with that. And I think it will continue on after I hang out with Steve. And one thing I was thinking about, we're talking about this really cool Joshua Tree festival that Steve's throwing. I can't wait to hang with you, Steve, and Tim Bloom, who's another one of my heroes who I pay royalties to because I've recorded a lot of their songs. Steve, I don't know if you know this, but I did a record called Bloom. It's like an EP, and all the proceeds went to Tim when he, ripped his foot in half from parasailing. And yeah, and I got together with like Jackie Green and Reed Mathis, and we recorded 5 of his songs. I mean, I recorded them and sent the stuff out, and then they recorded it, and it's called Bloom. I'm not really sure where I think you can find it on my website, kellerwilliams.net. But the day after, I'm playing on the Saturday at the Joshua Tree, and then the Sunday after that, I'm playing the Troubadour, doing 2 sets at the Troubadour, and that is a real bucket list thing for me. So I'm excited to be doing that. And I don't know if you have any listeners in California, but this gig is a Sunday at the Troubadour after the Joshua Tree, and I get 60% of the door. So if you can, tell your friends.
I'll tell my friends to tell their friends.
And so on and so on, and repeat and repeat.
Now, guys, since you're both like primarily or currently solo artists, how does it feel when you get together? Like, what's the vibe like when you finally get to see each other again? What do you do?
It's like we're making spaghetti sauce, and we both have recipes, and we're putting a little bit of oregano in it and a little bit of maybe some garlic sliced thin, and then he's suggesting San Marzano tomato sauce. And so we're mixing that in, and we're talking about what other flavors we want. And every night the spaghetti sauce is different. It's gravy.
It's kind of like a crock pot thing. It starts in the afternoon, and you don't really get to eat it until showtime. And the whole time it's kind of like simmering and mixing together in the crock pot. Kind of adding it in. Right? Am I right?
Oh, totally.
So how do you guys put together a set list for this sort of thing? I understand that you each do a little bit of solo stuff, and then you do some songs together. So what do you guys, do you get jam when you're not on stage to figure out what you're going to play? Are you guys just cruising around? What are you doing?
Yeah, we usually just play the stuff that we had been jamming earlier that day. hopefully that's what we do. I think we've, in the few shows that we've done, there's been a couple songs that we've thrown out that we may have done 2 shows ago that, probably better 2 shows ago. But Steve, what do you think? What am I getting close there?
I think you're super close to it. We see what feels good at sound check, and then sometimes we try to recreate that magic. Sometimes we just make up a song and just go with that vibe. It's fun if something can be very spontaneous, because a lot of times you might do it good in sound check, but you're not going to reach that high again, because music is a magical mistress, and she's always elusive, and you're looking for that high. That's why I do this, is that vibe of when we're reaching these moments, and it's medicine, and it makes my heart feel really good and happy, and it gives me energy.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, and Steve, I've seen you perform with other songwriters, but Keller, you're known as somebody who jams. Steve, does this kind of loosen you up a little bit and kind of get your jam chops a little bit up? Do you guys like throw out some extensions on songs a little bit when you're playing together?
Big time. The jam vibe has always been in my heart. I just am a lot of times alone on stage doing folky stuff, so I'm jamming with words a lot of times and stories, and I'm making like word salad. But being with Keller, he allows me to take some leads, which is really fun, because I don't always get to do that. And I'll go to Clam Harbor, and I'm not afraid to go to Clam Harbor and hit a few.
Clam Harbor. Steve is a kick-ass bitchin' guitar player and can rip some leads, which is pretty mind-blowing and face-melting at times.
It's so fun being able to do it.
Yeah, and it's fun to play rhythm and set up to play little like acoustic bass lines behind it, and just keep nudging you to keep going. Do it again, take another one. I love the long instrumental breaks, and in the folk music world, it's not really there. And there might be some people that might get a little itchy in their seats. They're used to the 4.5-minute song of quick, theology and philosophy. To actually see some improv, but I tell you, it's super fun for me, and I'm pretty sure it's super fun for you, Steve.
Oh man, it's the best. I love the whole improv part of it. It's what makes music so special, and Keller definitely comes from that world, and it's just a joy being able to hit those notes and do crazy shit on stage, because that's what I'm looking for, is that vibe. And so I especially love just making up songs on stage.
Yeah. And
you're good at that.
Well, and Steve, you're a legendary storyteller. I mean, the way that you can craft a tale and weave a story and interact with the crowd while you're playing a song is pretty legendary. Have you Keller, have you picked up anything, or Steve, have you been impressed by anything that Keller has done that you didn't know was like a secret skill of his?
Oh my God, he can do everything. He's a 5-tool player. Do it all. And so it's fun to see how he hits his vibe and what groove he goes into, and how he's not afraid to take risks, which is what music's all about. Music is just a whole bunch of risks. And where are you willing to go? And no risk, no reward.
Now, I'm interested to see where you guys think the folk music scene is going, because you've both been in the game for a long time, and I just got done seeing Billy Strings, who is a bluegrass player, not folk, but he kind of has a folky band behind him, all acoustic actually, and he actually sold out Friday night in Atlantic City, and Atlantic City isn't really a bluegrass town, so I'm just curious to see. And with, over the years, I mean, the success of guys like Mumford and Sons and like the Luminaires and like, folk influences being kind of weaved into pop, Where do you see the popularity of folk going? Because if we can get people like, going to Billy Strings shows and going to Steve Poltz and Keller Williams shows to shut the folk up and listen to the music, I think that folk is going to be around for, forever.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely circles and pockets of folks that like to hear people play instruments and sing, and I think the majority of the world are kind of like feeling the electronic vibe, which is kind of like the thing that's been happening really heavy the past 20, 25, 30 years. And folk music has always been there, and just like a circle that comes back around, and it never really goes away, but it's never really competing with the electronic music. But again, there's pockets of folks that still enjoy it. Now, Billy Strings is an interesting situation because he is 100% a legit player, singer, passionate songwriter, and passionate player and performer. You can tell he's a music lover first, like me, and I'm a music lover first. Musician second, songwriter third. That's kind of the order. But Billy Strings is kind of like he's if you really listen to him, it's traditional bluegrass at the heart, and then it goes into improvisations and maybe some electric guitar sounds, and the fan base is rabid, and a really amazing fan base that knows every word and every note. And that's a really interesting thing to partake in when you go see him, is how the whole atmosphere is all in sync and really interesting. And I think folk music is right there at the core of it all. And so I think it's not going anywhere, and I think it's going to be elaborated on for years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. So Keller, you're kind of ahead of the trend though, man. Like you had the whole, like you were doing looping, and I mean, I know so many people who were introduced to looping and even playing different instruments on their own records because of seeing you and because of being influenced by you. What are you doing with your new record that's coming out in May?
Well, I'm teamed up with my old friend Gib Droll. We've done a few projects together. There's the Williams, Mosley, Droll, and Sipe. Came out in I think 07 or 08, and then I think around 2011, 12, 13, I don't remember, was the Quattro, KWAHTRO, and that was Danton Bowler on the bass, Rodney Holmes on drums, myself and Gib Droll, and we have completed a record that's mostly instrumental and very much kind of an improv situation that was kind of turned into a record. And there's one song that has lyrics, and that one is going to be the single, and that's called Flip Phone Love. And the single should be coming out soon, and the record in May. And it's an acoustic record, but it does kind of walk the line of electronic dance music in a sort of there's so many genres and subgenres in dance music. This would be kind of a psychedelic down tempo acoustic.
Wow. You are always ahead of the
Yeah.
curve, man, because now flip phones are back in are back in style. You know what I mean? So you're definitely ahead of the curve here.
Right. Well, it's if you want to text the word love, you have to go 3 times on the 5 for the L, 3 times on the 6 for the O, 3 times on the 8 for the V, 2 times on the 3 for the E, baby.
Amazing. You're amazing. So I have 3 silly questions that I ask every single guest. So I'm going to hit you with those if that's cool.
All right.
Awesome. So the first question is, what was the first album that you ever received as a gift or you went out and bought?
Destroyer by Kiss.
Amazing. Why did you go out and buy that album?
I got that on vinyl. Yeah, I was in grade school, and that was what was available at the time. And all the makeup and the rock and the fire and the blood, it made me very interested. And I used my own money to buy that record.
Yeah, I think I have that on vinyl. And is that the one with like Love Gun on it? Does that sound right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a big. That was
Feel Uptight on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Detroit Rock City. Yep.
Detroit Rock City. I mean, that's such a great song. Love Gun is one of my favorite Kiss songs of all time. So the next question is, what was the first concert that you ever attended?
It was Cameo with opening act Zap featuring Roger. And this was at the King's Dominion amusement park in Ashland, Virginia. And I think this was around 82.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I couldn't. I was talking. I was shouting about how cool your record choice was, the Kiss thing, and nobody could hear me, and I felt like I was in a tunnel.
I'm so sorry, Steve. I'm so sorry.
Man.
What?
I think you.
Go ahead.
I was ordering pizzas at the same time because I got my guitar repaired by Taylor Guitars, and I promised them I'd bring them 4 large pizzas. So I was next to the 7-Eleven ordering pizzas at the same time, and I should have hit mute. And then you asked me to expand on what Keller said, and I didn't hear what he said. So I go, "That sounds good."
Yeah. Hey.
So
What I said was exactly right. So you did the right thing by trusting me.
Good. So I'm back with you. I ordered the pizzas because they did all these free repairs on Smokey Joe, and I have to get the pizzas there by noon. So I was like, I got to get these pizzas into these dudes. And then the dude was all stoked because I bought $120 worth of pizzas. And so he's like, I'm giving you a free pizza. But check this shit out, dudes. My first record I got was, are you ready for it?
Yes.
It was a 45 at a garage sale, and I was a kid, and it was boogum, 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 boogum now, baby, I'm dropping my spell on you. Boogum, boogum. Who did it?
Oh, dropping my spell.
And the other one
you.
was Easier Said Than Done by the Essex. Mama said to run to him, go to him, just do anything for him. Tell him he's our one. It's easier said than done. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, well, I know that I love him so. That song. But then the other one was Oogum Boogum by, what the fuck's that guy's name? It's such a good song.
Boogum.
Do you know the song I'm talking about?
No. I don't.
Oogum Boogum.
Oogum Boogum. I'm gonna have.
It's a really good song.
I'm gonna have to put.
And the third.
Go ahead.
The third 45 was Love Me Do by a band called the Beatles.
Nice.
I think I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Oh, Keller,
So-
I just asked Keller the first concert that he ever went to, and he named 3 bands that I had never heard of. What were they again?
Okay, it was Cameo. Cameo is the band.
Oh, I love
that sings,
Cameo.
Word Up. Everybody,
Yeah, that's so good.
Music to get it underway. Word Up. And the folks that opened for them was Zapp, Z-A-P-P, and that was featuring this guitar player named Roger, just one word, Roger. And Roger came out on with like these gold, like a gold banana hammock, and playing like wireless guitar from like a chariot. And he came out like, in the audience, and that was the opening band for Cameo. And that was like 1982 or so.
Yeah, I feel like I have heard of Zapp, but I've never heard of Roger. I wonder what he's up to these days.
That featuring Roger. Yeah, he had the whole Jerry curl and was wearing like this gold Speedo and playing badass guitar.
Go ahead, Steve. You want to answer that?
I would say the first concert I remember seeing was Styx, and they came to my junior high school, and they had just come out with that song, Come Sail Away With Me, and they set up in our gym. And I remember a guy smoked a joint and fell asleep inside the speaker cabinet, and it was blaring loud. And I was slow dancing with a girl, and I got a hard on because it was, I'm sailing away, and she was pushing into me, and I was pushing into her. But then the song starts rocking, and I had to pull away, and my boner was showing through my pants, poking out, so I had to do the shift where I moved it straight up. And I was dancing with her, wishing that they hadn't started rocking. So it affected me.
You had to throw it in like the elastic up top.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. We've all done that before.
We've all been there.
I went to a Catholic high school. I think I've mastered that move.
Yeah.
Super shift. Man, I loved a good slow dance.
Absolutely. You don't slow dance anymore as an adult, right? I mean, like, when do you get a chance? Do you guys ever break out a ballad and just, prompt people into the crowd to grab a partner?
Yeah, I have. I'm sure Keller has.
Yeah, no. I'm too concerned of boring people and then people being left out. I'm kind of like, put myself in the place of the audience, and usually I'm not looking to like slow drag with a stranger, and usually my wife's not there, so I stay away from the slow.
Absolutely. Hey, before I ask my last question, I have to ask Keller: is there any truth to this rumor about you being you doing a little skateboarding in the sound check?
Keller Williams skateboards at sound check, and it's awesome. And he has his skateboard, and he's just like in his cool own world. And then he does a sound check and he just skates around while I'm sound checking. And he's got this amused look on his face that I love, sort of a smirk. And then we come up with ideas for songs, and the sound checks are epic because we just play all these songs. And then after the show, Keller DJs for nobody but himself. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And he makes the backstage room all dark, and he's just in his own world DJing for a crowd of himself.
This is
all that
perfect.
matters. Yeah. I've gotten into the carving aspect of skateboarding, and it's not really a longboard, but it's all about the trucks. And the trucks are the little device that attaches to the board that holds the wheels. And these certain trucks, they go really far back and forth. And I'm able to emulate like surfing or like snowboarding. And I don't really you don't push off with your foot, but you use your momentum. Your momentum is created by the carve and using your body to propel you forward without, a hill or pressing down with the different foot. And that keeps me level mentally.
That's awesome.
That's kind of like your pre-show ritual. I know exactly what you're talking about. I follow this surfer, Cale Brock, and he travels in a van all around Australia. I think it's called a carve board or something like that he has, or a flow board or something. But
that's right. Yep.
So it's the same exact thing, right? Like, and that's what he
Mm-hmm.
recommends, that is like surfing, when you're not in the water, to just be on that thing.
Yeah,
Love
and there's not always waves, and it's looking like snow is becoming a thing of the past. But one thing is true, is that there's pavement everywhere.
We're not running out of pavement.
It's very true. Have you ever hopped on this thing before, Steve?
No, I'm scared to, because I'm accident prone and I've broken things on my body, and I just don't need that kind of trouble in my life. But I love watching him do it.
Do you have any pre-show rituals that you have to do before you go on stage, like, or something that like loosens you up?
You know what? I have no pre-show ritual other than a quick prayer to whatever my idea of the universe chief operating officer is. And I just pray that it's a prayer of thanks for that I have these gifts, and to go out there and make people forget how shitty life can be. And so I don't pray to be good. I just pray a prayer of gratitude, and that I am able to help transport them into areas where they're not thinking about back taxes they owe or any other kind of shit that's going on. And if I do that it only takes like 30 seconds to a minute, I'm totally fine. I don't need to vocal warm up or anything. I love, if I do get to sing and play guitar, it does make the show, it's cool because I come out totally warmed up. But I was at Port Fairy Folk Festival in Melbourne, Australia, and talking to Steve Earle, and we were talking baseball, and he followed me all the way to the stage. I never got to warm up, and I walked out and then proceeded to go on stage and talk for 10 minutes about how Steve Earle was just talking to me about the Yankees. And I didn't have the heart to tell him how much I hated the Yankees because they were American League team, and why I don't like the American League. And I explained it to an Aussie audience who knows nothing about baseball, about the American League and the DH, the designated hitter rule, and how DH doesn't stand for dry humping. And I did this whole 10-minute monologue, and that got me a good round of applause. And then I said, "Good night. Thank you so much." And I walked off stage, and then I came back out and played. So I have my only routine is just a quick prayer. But other than that, everything can be, there's no rules. I don't like rules. I'm not like sitting in the backstage going, la, 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 and I'm all persnickety. It's like, it can be anything. My guitar could go out. I don't phase. I don't freak out. I just go, I'll play it unplugged. Like, none of this shit scares me because I'm 63 now and I've done it so long. It's magic and it's a gift. And I look at each show as I'm the luckiest guy in the world. And I always picture myself. I always do this thing where I go, if you were back in 7th grade and somebody told you you were going to be in the shitty backstage room eating crappy pizza, playing on a stage with 20 people in the room, what would you say? I'd be like, fuck yeah. I'd be so stoked. So I try to always bring myself back to 7th grade Steve and just know 7th grade Steve would appreciate all of it. So whenever I get a little too high and mighty and think, wah, this wasn't right, I go back to 7th grade Steve, and 7th grade Steve tells current Steve to shut the fuck up and enjoy it. Yeah.
That's perfect.
Well, it says a lot. It says a lot about your character that you appreciate 7-Eleven pizza. I mean, that's kind of says it all. You're there. You're there. There's two kinds of pizza. There's some and there's none.
Yes, I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely. I gotta tell my friends at the Pizza Dow that shout out to the Pizza Dow. Last
Yes.
silly question, guys, before I let you go, and I'm sorry we're going a little late. What is your favorite soundtrack or score from a movie?
Mine is definitely, without even thinking, I know what it is. It's Jesus Christ Superstar. The
Nice.
recording with the guy from Deep Purple, Ian Gilliam,
Ooh.
who plays Judas, and his singing is insane. And he does the opening thing where he goes, "My mind is clearer now. At last, all too well, I can see where we all soon will be." And he goes, "Jesus!" It's so good. It's so melodic. Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice.
Is that the one that has "Prepare ye the
No, that's my
way
second
up"?
favorite. That's Godspell.
Is that God?
That's my other favorite. And I know every song from that.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the
That's
buzz?
Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh
Yeah, nice.
Okay. I do get those confused as well. Again, Catholic high school. I think I saw them back to back. You know.
What's the buzz?
Yeah.
It's so good. Keller, we should cover that song.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz?
Tell me what.
Yeah.
Why should you want to know? Why are you obsessed with fighting? Boom, 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 boom. Facts and things you can't decide. If you knew the war we're fighting, you'd understand it less than I. When do we ride into Jerusalem? When do we ride into
Jerusalem? When day by day.
Oh, that's Godspell. That's good too. Dude, we could do a mashup.
Mashup of Jesus Christ Godspell.
Dude, that would be epic.
Godspell Superstar.
I think.
Yeah, Godspell Superstar.
Yeah, Godspell Superstar would be like timeline wise, right? You want to go God to Jesus.
Man, these are great questions.
Thank you.
I think the answers are probably better. But yeah, no, mine would be, it's strange. It's the original soundtrack to the movie Outre Mer by a band called Garage A Trois.
Whoa!
And I tried to find the movie, and I talked to Mike Dillon, who's in Garage A Trois, and he said, "No, there's no movie. We were hoping to film a movie called Outre Mer, and we had the music for it already, but it never happened." But so my favorite soundtrack is to a movie that hasn't been created yet.
That is amazing.
That's even cooler.
Can you please tell me the name of the band and the soundtrack again so we can all look it up?
Sure. That's Garage A Trois. Garage A Trois. TOIS. And the record is called Outre Mer. So OUT.
I'll look it up and put it in the show notes.
Apostrophe
I love
RE MER, like Outre Mer, like a French thing. Garage A Trois, Outre Mer.
Dude, I love Mike Dillon.
Yeah, Charlie Hunter, Stanton Moore.
Ooh, Charlie Hunter.
Mike Dillon and Scarrett. Yeah, that's Garage A Trois.
Wow.
Oh, Keller, you know who said to say hi to you? I was talking to him last night for an hour. I was on the phone with this guy, Billy Payne from Little Feat.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, he's awesome.
We were writing a song together over the phone. He was in Montana, and he liked some lyrics and wanted more ideas from me. And then he's like, "Where are you headed next?" And I said, "I'm going out with my friend Keller Williams." He goes, "Oh, my God, please tell him I said hi. I love Keller." That was cool.
Bill Payne, he's so great. I love that guy. What a soul.
Yeah, he loves you.
Nice.
Wow.
I think they've got a little. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I guys go. I love you both. I feel like I'm just holding you up, and you guys want to keep having a conversation without me. So really, thank you. Is there anything that you guys want to mention for the listeners, for the world out there, that I can put on the podcast?
Yeah, please come to Washington, D.C. Please come to Philly, and please come to New York City. Come to all 3 shows. My friend Matt Malin's going to. Follow us around, because every show will have its own vibe. And why not go to our nation's capital and go to the Smithsonian? Every time I go to Washington, D.C., I get such a buzz from that city. I'm telling you, power is sexy. And that's a powerful city. And there's always something going on.
And it's a great train tour as well.
Yeah, I have done that route. It is a very simple route. Yeah, I've done the DC through Philly up to New York. It's definitely cool. And Steve, you missed it. I was telling Keller, I'm friends with a girl just because she followed Keller around for one summer. You know.
Oh, cool.
and Steve, I have to tell you.
That's what I'd like to say as my closing comments. I would like to say that those 3 shows, if you come to all 3 shows, I will personally give everybody who does it a Tesla. A photo of a Tesla, of course. It's like a photo.
Yeah.
Well, text them it, but it's a Tesla.
And I'll take a screenshot of it, and then I'll draw stuff on it.
Oh, that's even cooler.
I love that. But guys, hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and I'll see you guys in Philadelphia.
All right.
BaHOOTenzie. BaHOOTenzie.
I don't think anyone wants to hear about football/soccer.
Oh, man, I'm stoked. I'm in the parking lot of a 7-Eleven in El Cajon, California. Man, these are great questions.
I think the answers are probably better.